Hello, I'm gathering some wild greens for our lunch. We're having a chickpea tomato curry. So I figured I would show you what I'm doing. A question that comes up a lot whenever I talk about wild or foraged foods is what that actually looks like. Like I can talk about eating dandelions or dock or plantain or whatever, but it seems like it's always a question of okay, how does that actually look like in your daily life? So what it looks like today is we've got some rice going and we've got the curry cooking, and we're going to add in a bunch of chopped greens to the end of the curry and mix some stuff in with the rice. So let's look at some of this. So I'm going to have a few dandelion flowers. These are fun. The idea is basically to get a mix of stuff because a mix of things is going to give our bodies diverse nutrition, and we grow a mix of things. This is long leaf plantain. So I'm going to gather some of these. Not too much from any one plant. These will just keep growing, and they're perennial, so they will grow. They will grow for years. We've got some dock. This is a pretty good leaf. It's got doesn't have any holes on it or any of this brown stuff. A leaf like this is edible still. This brown stuff isn't going to hurt you, but it's kind of crispy and not the best. These dock plants are coming from a deep taproot, and they have tons of energy stored up, and they're growing really fast this time of year. So if you harvest just one leaf from this plant, in a couple of days, this tiny little thing is going to be big enough to harvest, and it'll have more fresh growth as well. So you can get a lot of food off of just a couple dock plants. See, this one's got some holes, but that doesn't matter. And this one has some of that discoloration, but again, that doesn't really matter either. All right, we threw seeds for dock here last year, so we've got quite a lot of it growing. This bull thistle is not going to be part of today's lunch, but we'll harvest the leaves for making broth in the future, and we'll also harvest the roots. Valerian, you can actually munch on the leaves. They've got quite a nice flavor when it's mild in the springtime, but I don't want us to get potentially drowsy from that, so we'll just leave those for now. This dock plant I actually transplanted from somewhere else where it was growing and not loved, and it was huge and unwanted, so I dug up the taproot and it now lives in our garden. This is fun, our little cactus collection here. And we've been blanching this dandelion here, so it's got this almost unreal color of green. I'll actually use the knife to get some of this. This has a really nice flavor and texture. So this will be chopped and then sprinkled over the top of the curry when it's done cooking. The rest of the greens will get some heat at the end, but this is going to be more like a crispy garnish. And what else should we get? Let's come over here and get some herb Robert. This is a nice little wild patch here. Let's talk about this for a minute. So this has native trailing blackberry, has bracken fern. It's the growth from last year. It hasn't popped up yet with the fiddleheads for this year. But we have edible blackberries here. We've got the fiddleheads, and also planted potatoes into the mix. So we're gonna have potatoes here, and we've got wall lettuce, which is a perennial species of lettuce. I'm gonna let that go for a little while before we start harvesting it. But that plant there, that little lettuce plant, has given us food for the last couple of years. And this is interesting. So we've got a nice ground cover of buttercups going on here, but our walking onions don't care. Ooh, snake. There we go. See that? There's a snake on our dandelion. I'll try to not bother that little guy too much, because what I want to harvest now is this Herb Robert over here. I'm just going to grab some of it off. Don't want too much of it. We'll come back for more of that later. Herb Robert has kind of it's not really a pungent flavor, but it can have a strong flavor. We'll chop this and mix it in with the rice to give some flavor to the rice. It doesn't taste like cilantro, but it's kind of in the similar direction. So we put butter in the rice and a little bit of salt, and then we'll put in some Herb Robert. And what else? Maybe a couple dandelion buds just for fun. Really, the game with this is just to gather a whole bunch of different stuff. It's fun, and it helps you have a garden with more diversity, and you don't have to plan so much what you're going to do. You can just wander out and figure it out on your way. This is another one of our favorite weeds. Hairy cat's ear is one of the names. It's like a dandelion, but it's fuzzy and the leaves are thicker. When it's happy, it can send up leaves that are about a foot long, and it grows up and away from the dirt, so the leaves don't get dirty, so they're really easy to prepare and harvest. Let's grab a few more of these. There we go. See all these native blackberries? These are smaller than Himalayan blackberries, but the flavor is, I like the flavor better. So we generally let those trail around everywhere they want in the garden, in the wilder areas of the garden. Anything else? Let's see. No, I think this will probably be good for now. So we've got the blanched dandelions that we're going to use on top. We've got the cat's ear, a bunch of dock. We'll probably use the dandelion flowers as a garnish too, I guess. And then we've got some Herb Robert to mix in with the rice. Let me see. Terry says, yay, dock. Yes, dock is one of my very favorites. Miriam says, do you have a source for where we can find walking onions? Here, let me switch the camera around. There we go. Yeah, so I haven't looked recently. Typically, you can find walking onions on eBay or Etsy. Sometimes people will sell like 20 top sets for $15. Other times people will sell like a whole flat rate box, which will have hundreds for $15. So try to find a box that's in bulk. If you're local to me, then later when these have top sets, you can stop by sometime and grab some. Miriam says, looks like a delicious combination. I think so. And the fun thing is that it's hard to go wrong when you take a mix like this and add oil and salt and curry powder and tomatoes and chickpeas. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A little bit later, we'll be able to add maple leaves to the mix. Ooh, here's another good one. I'm going to switch the camera back and show you this one. We're going to grab some of this too. This is northern willow herb. It's in the same genus as fireweed. It just grows a lot shorter. And the young growth tips that are tender are pretty good. Down low, if you get too low, it's pretty fibrous. I don't know if you can see that. Well, let's see. Actually, this one's still pretty tender the whole way along. So we'll take these shoots. This is a perennial plant. It's still got a lot of reserves stored there. So that'll come back and give us more food later in this season and next year. Okay. These can be a little bit astringent and a little bit bitter, so they'll definitely benefit from having heat going in with the curry while it's simmering just for a minute or two. Hi, Jennifer, and you're very welcome, Miriam. I hope that you can find some walking onions for this year. Actually, it's probably not the right time to get top sets. It's because they're not making top sets right now, but later on in the summer or in the fall, there should be some. yeah, so let's see, is there anything else that I feel like throwing in this? Not really. I think that was probably plenty. So here, let's see. There we go. There's our harvest. All right. Take care, everybody.